Do you feel like we're kind of speed dating?
Yeah, we are.
Having a B player lowers everyone's output by 20%. This is our first podcast, split screen style. Adam and I, instead of sitting together, we can sit across from each other and now like have someone to look at.
Yeah,
so,
high five. Get in there. Yeah, we can still high five.
That's actually really cool, transition between the two. But anyways, the cameras are set up like one's over here, one's in front of me. So
we're leveling up, y'all.
Slowly but surely, we're getting better over time.
And we got Easty in the studio with us today. What's up, dog?
So he's gonna be taking notes, so that way when we have some like banger information that we lay out, I will say we had been the last couple podcasts planning out our attack. And we just got so excited that we had this 2-camera system that we haven't necessarily planned it out.
That is it.
So
we have 2 cameras.
So Eastman's now gonna have to make a mark. So when we have these like weird pauses where we're like, oh, what do we want to talk about next? Yeah. Then he could just jump in. And
well, that's my bad too. We've been so dang busy, and I've been cruddy all week, so we got to kind of catch up anyway. So we got a lot to talk about, but might be a little all over the place. There's so many things.
Yeah. So what was the statistic on the podcast before we start? Do you remember? It was
like one makes it
90% fail within the first
3. Don't make it to 3. Oh dang! I'm
on camera
saying this somewhere, but they don't make it to 20.
Right. And then what we came out to is only 1% make it to 20 podcasts. Yeah. I think we're somewhere like, I don't know, we're probably at like quarter 8 or 9. Yeah. Oh, we're definitely past a quarter. 7?
For what's actually been
uploaded though, but you have some like in the queue technically, right? Yeah. So I think we're approaching.
We're getting there.
We're getting close to 10. I think we're almost halfway there.
About to be a big deal, dog.
And diligently, we really haven't missed a week. We have a couple spots in the calendar to hold it just in case we like miss one, but we haven't missed a week, which is really cool. That we've been steadfast to doing this content. So
with everything else going on. So.
Yeah. It has been the busiest week, so maybe truthfully from business side of things, we'll just start there. This was Wednesday. We put out our first, what I consider like legitimate wholesale order for, which is like a bulk order of our prepackaged cookies. I will say there are wholesale accounts that are carrying our cookies, but a lot of them are in like numerous locations.
Right.
And so they were like, ordering 100 cookies to this location, 100 cookies. But this was...
Well, just so y'all know, we ship out pallets of cookies every week already, but they're going usually to individual consumers, right? So like, yes, you order 6 cookies to your house or whatever. So they're going out in pallets because that's kind of the way the shipping works. But it's, a different ball game to have one address on multiple pallets of cookies, man. It's cool.
Yeah, so we sent out 4 pallets going to California.
That's right.
So that was like, truthfully, that's the biggest single order we've ever gotten.
Yep.
If you look at what Dashmart's ordering, it's probably more volume than that collectively through the time that they've been working with us. However, that was the biggest like one-stop shop.
Yeah,
that they
showed up ready to play.
Yeah.
So hey, good.
That's really cool. On the horizon now, we're just really throwing around, what Meijer's order is going to look like. We're kind of going back and forth with them on the logistics of everything. I personally thought we kind of already would be like to fulfilling it. I think Christian, who's our sales rep, has kind of like been dragging his feet, not in a way to like slow things down, just to like make sure that we're ready to.
Yeah, well, it's a play, for sure. And truthfully, but to remind y'all, like in business, you have to pursue 100% of the opportunities in front of you because a bunch of them are going to fall through, not even to your own fault.
Right.
So we have so many things lined up. We have so many opportunities lined up in front of us that I feel like to make the best decision, we are gathering as much intel as we can.
Yeah.
Before we go, yes, let's pick this thing. And then we go, oh man, there's this better thing, but we're stuck in this now.
Do you kind of feel like, I've never done this, but do you kind of feel like, what?
Sorry, we're frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, that's not a good face, but that's fun. Blooper reel.
Okay, we're back. That was short-lived on the 2 cameras.
Yeah, we tried.
That's unfortunate. So what I was talking about, this is actually what I was about to bring up to you. Do you feel like we're kind of speed dating?
Yeah, we are.
We're like speed dating.
Great analogy.
And the truth is, like, we gotta just prioritize like what we can and can't take care of right now. So
we only have so much
attention, effort, resources, time,
Right.
effort, energy.
Yeah.
And how do we want to spend it?
So yeah, we're kind of like speed dating through this whole process. Well,
because at the end of the day,
we have some
don't
very
wanna
attractive girls,
very attractive. But we don't want to let them down. But we also want to make sure that they don't let us down. So
Yeah.
it's tough. But we have to be fast. And you got to be, we talked about this before about taking punches. I guess it's not really punches, but it's like, oh man, you have to kind of jump through a lot of hoops and be ready to walk away after doing a bunch of work, spending money, if the opportunity is not right for the real right opportunity. But
Yeah. So I think the hard part for me, being a very analytical person when it comes to business, is when you're trying to create these business plans, you can't go best case scenario because it's just not going to be that way. And then you obviously aren't going to do worst case scenario. So you have to kind of like find this like middle ground.
Yeah, statistical
of like,
average.
Yeah.
You
And it is very difficult for me.
Sure.
It's just like, that's a very hard thing for me. Even when I had to do a business plan, when we were building a building, we thought we were going to get an SBA loan and they wanted a business plan.
Yeah.
It was very difficult for me to be like, they were like, how many cookies are you going to be selling in 2 years? And I'm like,
And I always go, anytime I'm taking a plan, I always go on statistical averages. I do that and it makes me feel good because I guess I get to be a narcissist here. I don't feel like I'm average.
yeah.
So if I go statistical average, if I know that the average labor rate is this and the cost of foods is this and the sales in growth or market or yada, 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 if I follow those and I am exceeding those, then it's just a quick metric. If I can crush it, if I can do, you've seen all the stuff I've done and 35 years old.
Easton,
so
just
it's
go
like,
over one spot. Just one spot. Yeah, there's a plug on the other side. Between every single one, there's a plug. So Eastman's learning the layout of his new office that he's going to be sitting in. So, but
yeah, so anyway,
Yeah.
so like kind of the statistical average thing, man. Like if I go, which is really tough for what we're doing because nobody's done this before, right?
Yeah.
But, if we can take a cross section of all the, potential products we could sell, right? That's basically what we're doing. We're proving concept and innovating and moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing that you guys will get to see is the behind the scenes. We're getting to meet with some really cool companies. We met with like an automation company today. We actually found out today, which I don't even know if this is public knowledge. Maybe it must be.
Oh, yeah.
But Schmuckers bought Little Debbie.
No, Hostess.
Hostess. That's what it is. Hostess.
With the mostest.
Yeah, so they bought Hostess like today or something.
Yeah, wild, man.
We were talking about there was an automation machine and they were picking up, and I was like, oh, are those what are those, Little Debbie or Hostess? And he's like, yeah, those are Hostess, or I guess I should say Schmuckers. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, they bought them today.
Yeah, at that level, dude, that's where things get super complicated. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah,
because they're going to stay the same. Nothing.
And who's
changes.
Schmuckers actually owned by?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who knows?
so I don't know. I feel like there's only like 7 companies that own like all of those.
Yeah, there's that chart.
Yeah,
where
that's
it's like, yeah, that's funny.
with like Unilever, like owns all this stuff, and
Procter Gamble.
yeah, is it not? It's not Kellogg's. Someone who,
Oh yeah, it's like food. Nestle's like, we got water. We own water.
well, like Pepsi even owns like food.
PepsiCo, yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, are they Frito Lay? They might be. I don't know. Right, whatever.
They own.
But it's just interesting to think about it because we're building that kind of brand, and the tradability of that is interesting to me because, I mean, these things might have co-packing facilities. We talked about Dots Pretzels, but it's like that wasn't even part, they only did part of the operation.
Yeah.
And then they were, unified. So anyways, it's just kind of weird to think about like at that level.
Yeah, I think that I really opened when I watched that the automation thing, and we were watching those cupcakes, those Hostess cupcakes be like put on the machine, and you just saw, I mean, literally this facility was just like this massive facility,
huge.
and there's just cupcakes everywhere, and these robots are just picking them up and putting them onto these bagging machines, and you're just like, holy, that scale is just so insane to even like think about.
I mean, yeah. Think millions of cookies.
Also, I'm like, who's eating all these cupcakes?
Yeah, but like think about every store you've ever probably gone into has that one little section with all them boxes, and you don't really think about that, but think about it on scale. Like every store, every grocery store, almost every gas station, everywhere.
Well, that's what we're talking about today.
People eating them.
Talking about scalability of a business. There are what I tell you, 160,000 convenience stores in the United States.
Yeah.
There's 60,000 grocery stores.
Right.
So if you're a food item that can go in convenience stores and grocery stores, you've essentially like way increased the amount you can go into. Then if you're a food item that can go in a convenience store, grocery store, and a QSR, which is called a quick service restaurant, which most of you guys would know that as a fast food establishment.
It's a type of fast food.
Yeah. When you do that, there was something like 120,000 QSRs or something.
Yeah.
So now when you add all those together, it's like 360,000 locations that can have your product. Right. If you hypothetically got into 25% of those locations, you're looking at 90,000 locations carrying your product. And if your product just sold 1 unit every day from each location, which is not very, like, that's not like too crazy to think about. Like, you know, like one person walking down decides they're going to buy
1 bag of M&Ms.
Yeah, a bag of M&Ms, right? You're then moving, you know, what did I say? 90,000? Yeah, 90,000 like bags a day, right?
Yeah, if you only move 1.
Yeah, if you're only moving 1, right? So over a course of a month, now you're moving what is that? 90
times 30.
Yes, times 30. So 900. So 2.7 million bags a month.
Well, you better find somebody that can make that stuff for you at scale, you know?
But I mean, that's how it works on the wholesale world. When you get into these wholesale accounts, you're not trying to sell like 100 units a day out there, which would be great if you did, but you're really just trying to sell a couple. I think Max said, you know, they did like some of their better months are like 200,000 plus on bags of sour strips. Yep. Target, there's 2,000 locations.
Yep.
Right? So if you're selling 200,000 units of sour strips in that 2,000 locations, then you're selling, what, 100 per month per location?
Well, yeah, I mean, truthfully, unless there's a surge on something, I mean, nobody just runs and buys all of one item anyways. It's better to look full and stocked.
What I'm trying to say, though, is in general, that just means on average, you're selling 3 bags a day.
Okay.
But that's what I'm trying to, like, if you had a business that was only selling 3 items a day from your one location, it's unsustainable.
Oh, no.
Right. But when you go into wholesale.
Well, it's like going in Sonic Drive-Ins, man. We owned a few of those, and like owning one would have been boring and not a lot of money, but owning multiple and building more is very exciting.
Yeah, we're definitely in the volume game.
That's
you know? There are products out there, like probably Ferrari, where you can just sell 1 car every couple weeks and like, that's all you need to do, you know, but
well, that's kind of the angle, man. Yeah. You're either going higher ticket or you're going kind of mass appeal, right? So we're not going so mass appeal. We talked about this before, right? Our product is gourmet, but it is for most people. It's for everybody, really. But like, I don't think too many people have a bad thing, a good thing or a bad thing to say about like a Chips Ahoy. Yeah. It's just a Chips. It's a good. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. If anybody came at me and was like, "Oh my God, that's the best," I'd be like, "No." Right?
Yeah.
Well, that said, the better something is if somebody's like, "Oh, this is really, really good." Well, somebody's going to think it's not so good. So we're trying to do mass appeal, for everybody at scale to get the best kind of gourmet cookie possible. I think we could make I don't know who'd buy it, but a $200,000. I mean, I don't know. We could like source some stuff. I mean, you could just flagrantly spend money on ingredients, but I don't think it'd make it.
That's kind of like what I did, like not completely that scale, but like with the Hormozy cookie that
Luxury.
we made. I was when he told me what kind of vanilla he liked in the cookies, and I looked it up. I was like, damn, like a normal bottle of vanilla, like you're talking like $5. And this was like $40.
You know where they make? So you know where they make some vanilla? If it's artificial, you know where it comes from?
No.
You need to Google it.
Okay.
Google it.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
But
it's from a beaver gland. You can't tell it. Well, sorry, y'all. It's from a beaver gland. Guess where the gland is? I'll let you Google that part.
Is it like his anal gland or
something? It's back in. It's back in now.
Okay. Well,
they're like, this tastes like vanilla. Who found that out? Okay. Sorry to get excited. Who was like, y'all, this tastes like vanilla.
So the best compliment you could give your girl is be like, "Hey, girl, you a beaver." If you know
but
what I
hear
mean.
me out. They're like, "Come taste this. It tastes like vanilla." And they're like, "Why did you taste it in the first place? What are you doing?" Okay. Anyways, sidetrack. Anyways, he likes luxury Madagascarian
Right.
vanilla.
So this vanilla is from. It's called bourbon vanilla, but it doesn't have any bourbon flavor to it. It's from the Bourbon Island in Madagascar, and it's like
it smells really good.
It's hand picked.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of luxury behind this. Like this little bitty bottle. I'm saying like tiny bottle was like $40.
Yep.
So it's just very interesting. That's where you can go with that stuff. We also hand chopped some chocolate. We made a bourbon caramel from the brown sugar bourbon, which is, I like that bourbon for cookies because it's very sweet.
It is sweet.
It lends very well to
does.
like the cookiness. Otherwise, a lot of times bourbon's like,
a punch. Yeah, it's easier for us to deal with that off-putting taste for sure. That like most of the time, no matter what, I mean, nobody really wants their food to taste like alcohol.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the reminiscence of it.
well, yeah, most cooking you cook
it
out
off,
the alcohol, but like obviously we're not going to cook off the alcohol. And I guess
We're not using it in
could,
concentrates, but I guess we could. Be a science experiment. Do an R&D
like
kitchen.
flambe you'd have to do it with I don't know. That may be hard with the caramel, or you'd have to cook it and then put it into the caramel. But either way, I like it when it's got a little bit of that alcohol taste to it. Yeah. It's meant well for this. But that being said, that is like the first time we've done like what I would consider like a more luxury high-end cookie. Like I said, hand-chopped chocolate, that bourbon in the core, and then that Madagascar vanilla. But it's really good. It's a good cookie. So I think this video will come out later, but I'm going to post a reel on the cookie tonight about it.
Check it out. In the past.
Eastman's telling me maybe tonight. It's going to happen tonight. It's going up tonight. So.
Well, you kept saying, I'm realizing it now, it's vanilla bourbon, but you just said bourbon. You said a bourbon imported from Madagascar.
Oh.
We smuggled it in, y'all.
Well,
Smuggled it in.
I can just say vanilla, bourbon vanilla, and then voice it over. That's the magic of editing. You can make things. Also, have you ever noticed this when you watch reality shows?
Use
and
a
stuff
different
like that?
voice.
Huh?
Use a different voice.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Funny voice.
Have you ever watched? I know you don't probably watch Smut TV as much as Aubrey and I do, but like Love Is Blind or any of those shows. Never. Sometimes when you're watching those shows, it'll cut away from the person talking, or even cooking shows. It does sometimes, and they'll be like, the person that was speaking is still speaking, but it's an obvious like, oh, you need to add this in post. Yeah. You need to come say these words because we need this to make sense in this scene.
Got it.
So the person will be like, they'll be like, oh, it looks like Jennifer is making a lobster roll, and they'll cut over and they'll be like, I don't know if she's going to be able to finish in time, and you're like, but that is not what your voice sounds funny. Like, so it's obvious they're doing it like in studio.
Oh, the magic of editing, man. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been around some productions. I'm not, but I've seen them go on, and it's like, or even like the simulated drama or whatever that they really try to pump in.
So I don't know how much I can talk about this.
Yeah.
So I won't mention the person's name so I don't get in trouble. We know someone that was on The Bachelor.
Okay.
Or Bachelorette, I guess. The woman was the person picking them in. Is that The Bachelorette? Yeah, The Bachelorette. So he was a bachelor on The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
And they made it, he made it like in the top 5-ish people, maybe 4. Every single one of them had their own producer that was like constantly in their earbuds, like telling them things and like kind of starting drama. Like they would literally like say like, oh, so-and-so said this about you and stuff like that. And then he said that they were sleep deprived and given as much alcohol as they wanted to drink.
Oh yeah,
and there was barely any food.
Yeah,
they said there was like no food to eat, so they are like, we're hungry, tired, and on alcohol.
I heard that about like some of the MTV shows or whatever. Was that like there was no food, but there was always alcohol.
Right.
So that's kind of funny. But hold on, back up. There is a show. I don't watch enough TV, so there is a show where grown men fight over one woman.
Well, you didn't know that?
On television.
Yeah.
I knew there was.
The Bachelor is the other way, where it's a grown man who picks between all the women. So what they started doing is, after that, the girl that came in second place becomes the Bachelorette and has men fight over her. And then the guy that comes in second, usually the guy that comes in second, sometimes it's not necessarily the guy that came in second, but just like the most lovable guy from the show, you know?
I feel like if you win that show, you've lost as a man.
I think only one or two couples from like the 20-something seasons they've done have actually gotten married and stayed married. That's terrible odds.
It's just setting yourself up for all kinds of issues. I mean, I'm not going to get in there, but it just seems like
Aubrey said even if you were on there for the right reasons, the whole experience is such a whirlwind, and every date is this way over the top date. Like, oh, we're in Paris today and you're going to take me to like dinner at the Eiffel Tower and like all this stuff that are not your typical dates throughout relationships. So you're living in this like fairy tale la la land, and then you get back and you have like real
hedonistic
money
principles,
and,
man.
like,
yeah, you're messing. Yeah, well. Well, that's what they said, right? Hedonistic principle or whatever. Like once you've tasted a certain level, like everything below it just feels, like you can only see how far you've dropped or something. Like
right.
That. So I guess that delayed. We talked about all that stuff before, but yeah, no, that sounds terrible. Men, boys out there, get your weight up, get some skills. Don't be rude to women, but like, you should not have to go on a television show and like fight over other men and lose your dignity on television. Please don't do that. Thank you.
I think the hardest part with that would be just like
that is like the feminization of men.
The general like lack of respect that would probably be shown.
I don't want
as
to
a
see
whole.
women competing over that type of circus stuff either.
Oh, I can also.
But it's like
we can also talk
don't
about
do that.
We can also talk about how that show, if the roles were reversed a few times, that show would be canceled.
Oh, sure.
At one point, they had all the guys wearing like G-strings essentially and having to like perform in front of
clowns.
Yeah. And I said, could you imagine if they switched that over and they told all the women to get into like bikinis and like dance for the male bachelor?
I mean, it sounds like a better show, but that's just, I know y'all can hate me.
But you get what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying? Like that would be like instant.
Yeah, that sounds like a show I definitely don't want to watch. It's a bunch of dudes dancing in G-strings on ABC. Great family programming. Keep it up.
But Aubrey and I always talk about like how if the roles were reversed on a lot of the things that they ask the people to do, that you would be like, people would literally be like suing the show for,
Isn't that crazy though? That like, so I'm just thinking about it now in 2023, me thinking that like, hey, maybe we don't make content like television shows like that. Maybe we shouldn't push like that on families. Me going like, is seen as like I'm probably being seen as like negative, whereas I'm just being like I don't think it's positive for families.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I'm misogynist or whatever that makes me.
Yeah. Well, I get called that all the time, which is weird because it's like I love my wife and
because
daughter,
I don't want to see women being undignified on television and men. That's not being masculine, and that's another step towards the feminization of men. Like, dude, no. You want me to put that on a dance to like try to win? No. I'll do that for my wife. If my wife asks me to put it on whatever dance for her, I'll do it on heartbeat. I will. She knows I've done it. But
I've done it in there.
But
hey, pictures are in heaven.
When I did that bodybuilding show, she liked that little she liked that little suit. What can I say? No, we love each other. That's different. That's you don't know the person. You're just being whatever. Anyways.
A lot of the hate that comes towards me on social media is because of the I guess, outward sexual innuendos or jokes that I make towards my wife,
Sure.
And I definitely understand, like, where people are coming from about, but the truth is, it's like, I hope that, because a lot of times they'll be like, what about Letty, and they'll say things like that. And I was like, I hope that Scarlett gets married one day.
Coming from a place of love, man. You're coming from a place of love. I know.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that Scarlett gets married one day and has a husband that is like so infatuated with her, that loves her and desires her physically as well as the other things. I think that people downplay the fact of like how much I care about Aubrey as a wife and a mother.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying.
I also sexually desire my wife.
Yeah, man. Me, I same deal with my wife. I'm not as scrutinized as you are, right? But I make her roll her eyes probably 10 times a day at some dumb stuff that I say.
And I can tell you right now,
I'm a boy, she's a girl. We talk a little different. Sometimes we make it work.
If Aubrey didn't like it and told me to stop, I would stop.
Oh, sure.
And second of all, if I stopped doing it, she would think something was wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm in like a lose-lose situation for social media because they're going to just say, you're a terrible person.
Haters going to hate.
But that's I guess that's
Ladybug
a side
Rock.
tangent. That's Letty. I think Letty made that. I don't know.
Ladybug Rock.
So, but again, with the growth of Fat and Weird, I think that also leads into the more scrutiny that comes with everything that you do. And speaking of that, our friends over at Alani Nu, they did a collab with, you were drinking one earlier, weren't you? Eastman's got it over there. Where they did a collab with Kim Kardashian, and there was a lot of like uproar because it was like you're supposed to be a fitness brand, and she's like fake fitness is what people that are like deep into that world feel.
Yeah. I got it.
She still works out every day. And she obviously has had surgery to make her body look differently, but you can't take away. That's like people that say like, oh, you do steroids, so it doesn't count that you go to the gym. It's like, yeah, I realize that she may have surgeries to change her body, but you still have to like upkeep some level of fitness to maintain a physique.
I don't really fully understand or know all the things why Kim Kardashian is famous, but she's famous. She brings a lot of eyes. I understand that collab.
Right. And so that's kind of what Hayden ended up posting was like, I realize that this may not be for everyone and everyone likes Kim Kardashian, but like my real friends, my ride or die type friends congratulated me regardless of what they thought about Kim Kardashian because of what it meant to Alani Nu and my brand.
Well, right? Truthfully, I don't know the fans and I don't know how the brand was built like you might. Hell yeah, I would congratulate the heck out of them. I know that probably several million people that have never heard of Alani Nu before.
Yeah.
Even as big as it is. Because Kim Kardashian is Kim Kardashian.
Right.
I know who she is and I don't.
Right.
So, hell yeah. I mean, that's got to be huge for them. Yeah.
And I think that like brings back the thing that we've talked about before on this podcast that Hormozy brought up, and I know you brought this up too, is that like how do you decide like what friends to keep around? Because you have friends for reasons, friends for seasons. Like some of your friends are just like lifelong friends. But like one of the biggest things is if someone doesn't celebrate my wins with me, then I don't.
Gone.
Yeah, I don't. They're not. Yeah.
Whatever. Hit the button, they fall out the floor. Yeah, you can't, man. They will.
Regardless of whether that's what you would have done with the company, you have to understand and appreciate the milestone for the company itself.
Yeah, man. Any of you guys out here, it happened to me a long time ago. It's happened to Brad, but if you guys go to elevate your life and really elevate your status, start pushing yourself, start being ambitious. If you start making serious changes, you're going to lose all your friends. You're probably going to lose them because they're not going to understand what you're doing. They're going to rag on you. They're not, and if they're not going where you're going, what do you got them for anyways? I mean, it's not, my wife and I go somewhere, I see people, I'm friendly, I talk to them all the time, but like, hold on, I have however much time after work. Again, we talked about spinning tokens. Okay, let's say I'm not with my family for whatever reason, I'm not working, If I call you or text you or do something to get up with you, it's pretty dang important, and it's not to like, sit around and complain? I mean, like, I'm going to be trying to make something else happen because that's fun and exciting and whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
I think that for me, the hardest thing to accept is that, like, I like to be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
And something I've had to learn, I'd say even this year was I'm allowed to be friendly with people and not make them my friends.
Yep.
And that's been a really difficult thing
tough
for me because I like to be friends with everyone. I like to be friendly. I like for someone to be like, Brad's a genuine guy. Like I consider him a friend. And so maybe a lot of it's like egotistical on my part, like wanting a lot more people to like me. But this year I've decided, I don't really care if someone's my friend or not. I'm going to be friendly to them.
Sure.
And if, we end up crossing paths, then maybe we build a relationship that turns into a friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't need someone to be my friend anymore.
That's right.
I don't.
Yeah.
So that was a really hard thing for me, like I said, because of my personality. But not everyone needs to be your friend, but there's no reason to not be friendly to people.
Well, that's right. I think it's part of becoming a man too. Nobody knows. There's no like award. There's no like, there's no epiphany that happens to you, but you just go from giving a fuck what other people think to going like, look, this is where I'm going.
What?
And, and if we can help you, like, does that make sense? Like men move differently.
I used to be disappointed when I'd hear like, so-and-so had to get together and I was like, oh, I was invited to that.
Right.
I thought we were friends. Yep. And now I'm just like, one's my friend. We're friendly. I'm friendly with people. Not no one's my friend. I know who my friends are, right?
Right.
And so like I'm less disappointed when I hear about these other situations that maybe I wasn't invited to or whatever. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, but I mean it's like, well, why didn't I get it? Cuz I don't have anything in common with them, man. It's hard to find things, kind of going back to it, man. Like when you start moving in a certain direction, you're very deliberate and you're very whatever. I mean, we have a very common goal, so it's very easy. But I didn't grow up in I know you didn't either. I didn't grow up in the country club or anything like that. The amount of wins it's hard to pick up the phone and be like, hey, bro, I fucking won $1 million. And they're like, or not, I've not won, made it over everybody. My efforts paid off rather. And then be like, oh, cool, I hate my job. Or like I'm doing nothing in my life or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I guess showed me like how legitimate our friendships were. That like you told me like how Slim's was doing right when you opened, and I was like genuinely happy for you. And it wasn't like that's taken away from anything. I was like, damn, that's awesome. That's crushing it.
Well, when you told me during the pandemic, I was like, hell yeah, boy, let's reinvest, put some gas in it, keep going. What the plan was.
And we came to that soft opening of Slim's over there.
Oh, yeah,
I was so excited for everything that you were doing there. But I think that one thing sticks out is anytime I talked to you about how we were doing, I never got any feelings of like jealousy in there. And also it was always encouraging of like, okay, now what? Not like good job, like high five me, but it was always a challenging thing, not in a rude way, but just like okay, now what you guys
right.
do? What's next?
Well, man, elevating your circle is also kind of my point to it. Like just to kind of point at a reference, because I'm not like highlighting anything, but some of the where you see on like what's the name of this circle? Like like Andrew Tate. Those videos where it's like, oh yeah, me and my friends, we get on a private jet and we go ride our cars. I don't know what they do. I'm not legitimizing any of it. But like to be able to have a go-getter group of friends like that, it sounds cool. But then again, in the real world, I don't know if that is the thing. I live with my family. We some go-getter families. I got you, I got my close people. But
well, people always say like, oh, show me your 5 best friends and I'll show you where you're going. And the truth is like, if you got my 5 best friends, it's like that's you, Aubrey,
right,
and then you're pretty much out, because like I guess I keep it smaller than 5, and I don't think it's hurting me at all because like we told you before, I think we talked about in this podcast, having a B player lowers everyone's output by 20%. So I'd rather have less people in my circle that are all A players than. Oh, I need to have 5 friends, so let me invite these B players.
Well, you know what else too, man? Like, none of y'all know me, but I'm a fairly tough guy. But I'm tough because I can protect my heartstrings. If I let people in, then I'm a mopey bitch. If I let them in too hard and they hurt, So it's like I got big tough defenses, and if I let you in, then I'm like, well,
it's funny
because I don't deal with it.
Well, it's funny because even this week. I may have picked on him a little bit for how much he was like dragging, but he was like, please don't make fun of me. I already feel like a pansy.
I was like, make fun of me next week when I feel better. All you want to, but just like,
don't do it this week. And I did. I let it go and covered down, got it done.
Man, dang pressure in my head all week. So it's just like, just enough that I'm in just a bad mood. Just like,
yeah, that's something that we actually talked about with someone earlier. Have you ever like done something to someone, let's say, and you get a reaction, you're like, whoa, that was like nowhere what I thought. Right. And so I joke that like if we all had like a meter above our heads, that every day you should wake up with your meter at 0, and then by the time it gets to 100, that's when you like get set off. But when you have like an injury or you have sickness, you're already sitting with like you're 60. You're already at a 60, right? Yeah. So all it takes is 40 to get you set off where it would normally have taken you 100 to get set off.
I can see that. And to touch on that though, something stress. So like I know I like stress. I think go-getters like stress. But I mean like humans in general, we are more like I'm hungry, I got to go eat, okay, solved. Or there's a bear, I got to run from it, okay, I'm safe or I'm not, whatever, solved. This like
looming stress.
Where you wake up, you should be at 0, but you're not.
Yeah.
Wife shouldn't be stressed out at you, but she is, or whatever. Who cares, right? There's so much stuff going on that then, when you feel like someone is just like pushing like this all day.
Yeah.
You're like, what did you say to me?
Yeah. I feel like stress is, you know, how I said the other one was like a meter. And then once you got to 100, you set off. Stress is almost like a multiplier. So like if you have a 2 multiplier on stress, if something would normally be like a 50 and it wouldn't set you off, now it doubles and it's 100 and it sets you off. So stress is an interesting one because I feel like being under stress, like literally just amplifies the signal that's coming at you because your body's already kind of in this like fight or flighty type mood because you're kind of stressed out.
And so I think there's so much like road rage. It's just like weird trigger of all of that underwhelming. Because it's like these people don't act like that in the grocery or like, no, they're not like, cut me off with your buggy. Yeah. But they're ready to go to get shot and all kinds of stuff in traffic. Crazy. Yeah. I see videos.
Well, traffic is a stressful situation. Yeah. A lot of people are coming home from work, which is they're leaving the stress of work. Some of them are heading into stress at home. Yeah. And so I think that when you just like add all this stuff up, that's what just like people just get set off, you know, immediately.
Well, they say that too, man. That's a trait, you know, so like sometimes, you know, male, female, whatever, like men being able to come home and like not go right back into stress because they've been, you know, I guess biologically wired to kind of just get into the cave and chill the fuck out.
Right. Yeah.
Versus going like, okay, wait, what do you need help with?
Yeah. So
give me 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's been another thing too, though, is like having some time to decompress. So every morning now I've been doing, I don't know if you've ever, the Bible app, there's an app. Okay. And if you just download the app,
I'll check it out.
Once you open it, there's a Bible study every day. And it only takes like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And literally the first thing kind of gives you the verse, and then you click on this thing, and it's then it like there's someone that kind of talks about the verse, and then it has like a few little snips of information about it, and then then that's done. You click on the next part, and the next part is like guided prayer to like help you pray, and it's something I've been doing every morning, and I feel like it helps me like get back to zero. Like when I wake up and I'm not at zero, it helps me just like calm down, have that quiet time and get back to zero. So I guess that's like a morning routine. I don't have this like, you know, some people have these like 2-hour long morning routines. Like that's my 10-minute morning routine, if you will. So I will have checked that out. That seems like too simple to not do. So easy. Weird thing, man. I'd like to get in structure, a little more structure prayer. I do pray, but then you know my personality. Then I like feel bad for asking for things and stuff. Even that, whatever. That's personal. I'm working on that. Does anybody ever say that like we should be praying and to ask God how we can help God, or is that like what? Is that taught in churches? You know, we always ask God for a lot. Do we ever try to like? Yeah, I think when people ask like for God's guidance on their life, they're asking for God to help guide them the way that would be beneficial for His kingdom. You know,
because I'm not saying like I could ever do anything to help God, but if I could, I would.
But I think you do, though, right? I personally
try to help people.
I personally believe that we're all instruments for God, right?
I agree.
And so every tool can help God do something. Yes. So I do believe that no matter what you do, like what you asking that you want to help God. You're by doing that, you're saying, God, use me in the best way that you can use me. And that's how you help but it's helped me because I mean, obviously I don't think we've talked about on the podcast, but you know, like my sister's going through stage 2 cancer right now. And so that's been, you know, obviously weighing on me pretty heavy. I get emotional when I talk about it, not because I'm worried that she's going to die.
It's your baby sister, man.
It's because I don't want her to have to go through what she's about to have to go through. Luckily, it's only like a 7-week radiation treatment.
I know, man.
Situation.
Well, this is talking about the stress thing, because if it was a damn grizzly bear bothering her, you and I could go over there with some spears and do something, but we just kind of have to watch and go.
Yeah, and so
that's your sister, bro.
Yeah, I think that you take on some of that stress on like, I need to help them find a place to live. I need to be available to them if they need help with their kids, and like I want to be there to help them.
Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah, we have had a lot of people reach out.
No, I know.
I knew that's why even when I made the video to talk about it on social media, I even like thanked people ahead of time because I knew that they were going to reach out and they were going to, because I just have a great audience, if you will.
Sure.
So we've had tons of people reach out. We've had tons of people offer to help financially. We've had a ton of people give us different options for places to stay and things like that. I think a lot of it truly is just the uncertainty of it all, you know, how it's going to play out, like how the situation's going to be. It's just difficult to navigate that, you know?
Well, that's right. And you know, I mean, you know this, but you can just be a supportive brother.
Yeah.
Be a good uncle.
Yeah.
Make sure that she knows she's being the best mom that she can. Because I can't imagine, because me going through that, I am so much more worried about what I am not going to be able to do for my family in the future than what is going to happen to me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think we're all wired to that extent, but I have no idea what she's thinking about. But trying to put myself in those shoes, I'd be thinking like, I'm going to be less of a father, or I'm going to be less of a something.
Yeah.
And I think everybody just rallying together to help with that would be the best.
Yeah. I mean, I know that she's really worried about, obviously, I mean, 8 weeks of not working is a large hit to your finances. On the same time, the expense of doing those things. And then she just really wants everyone to be in Gainesville with her. So like the kids and everything. So I don't know. Apparently Dick Vitale, you know, the announcer for basketball games, he just went through this exact same cancer. And so it's on Twitter, and he like went on Twitter and went through the whole process and talked about it all. So I talked to William, and he said that he's actually found a lot of comfort in watching this process unfold with someone else, because he kind of knows what to expect.
He's a numbers guy, you know. He needs to,
Well, he knows what to expect too.
Right.
And the overall general feelings of this is a very good prognosis on beating the cancer. Again, I just don't want my sister to have to go through this. I would rather take it up if I could take it up and do this and deal with it.
Suffer for her and do all your work. I know. I get it. I can. So
that's just that's the hardest part. They said, he said that the first couple of weeks, everything was pretty normal. Then after that, he was having to take naps during the day because he was just so tired.
That's the hard part to watch.
Eating gets really difficult because it is your throat. So they, swallowing foods gets hard. So he's lost weight, and that's the hard part. Ariel's already a really small person. So we've joked she needs to fatten up a little bit.
She does with the cancer.
Before
I don't know.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, she can.
Smoothies.
It needs to be like non-sugar stuff,
right,
because
right.
cancer technically feeds on sugar
does.
a lot of times. So not that you get cancer from sugar.
It is it is effective. Unfortunately, all cells feed on sugar.
Right.
So it's just.
But yeah, so that's I think that's a big stressor that's been in my life lately. And fortunately, the whole team knows about it, and I feel like I've gotten a little bit of grace on everything just because they know.
Well, for sure, And so really, I mean, this thing's going to be expensive, so we need y'all to get out there and keep buying cookies, okay?
Yeah. I joked. I almost told Aubrey, I was like, when people ask about the GoFundMe, can I say, nah, just buy plenty of cookies?
Buy cookies, man. What? Yeah. I mean, we're always, putting it to a good use, so
yeah.
I know we'll take care of her.
But no, that's really it. I guess the true thing is you don't know what everyone else is going through in their life. So if you get a reaction that you don't feel like was appropriate for whatever you brought at someone, I guess just keep in the back of your mind they could be going through some hard shit right there. That doesn't excuse the behavior, but it helps you understand maybe where they're coming from.
It doesn't. And, to kind of touch on that, man, when I was younger, I was just a different person. But now if I have it in me and somebody gives me that reaction, I try to just be like, okay, man, sorry, have a good day.
Yeah.
I don't need to be like, you back, blah.
Yeah, you don't need to escalate it.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay.
I think that
I don't want whatever that is anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that comes from a place of maturity, though, to realize that just because someone offends you, you don't need to posture yourself in a way that shows that you deserve some kind of respect from them. It's you know what? We're not on the same page. We don't need to.
I don't need to actually hurt you or whatever. I mean, I don't know how that escalates, what it ends. I don't want to yell at you. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get punched by a small child. I don't want to do, so it's just like some people, man, I'm like, I don't even know where this is going, but I don't want to interact with you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, this was the podcast. We'll have a little bit of the dual camera in the beginning.
And then my cool frozen face, maybe.
And then we'll give you a little like face from Adam. And then after that, we'll have this podcast. But hope you enjoyed this episode. A lot just talking about where we're going with Fat and Weird and where our headspace is at.
To the moon.
So you're worth it. Do hard shit.